at KSMO Radio. We welcome you to Wednesday, April 23rd. And it's time for us to get together with our friends from the Extension. Stephanie Whopper's in today. Stephanie.
Good morning, Stan.
How are you? Always have that glow about
Oh,
you. I know it's an early morning glow today.
yeah.
But it is. And we are doing this a little bit earlier because Stephanie does have some other appointments today. So anyway, but it is our fourth Wednesday of the month. That's our extension day.
Didn't even realize that myself.
Oh my
Stan.
gosh.
Yeah.
It flies by so
The
fast.
months go by really fast.
They do.
The older we get, the faster they go, right?
Hey, right. So you've been with the extension a couple times, and
Yeah.
and so you have expertise. Should say expertise, but you have a wide knowledge of the different types of products, the different kinds of programs, I should say.
Right.
It is still early, isn't
Right,
it?
it is early, yeah.
But the different programs that the extension offers, that helps a lot of people. You're mostly in nutrition, but there's a lot of programs available too, right?
Of course, yeah. So we have our livestock specialist in the office, Eric, and we have our community development specialist, Ray Walden, and the extension office also has we call them a youth program associate, which is the person over the 4-H for Dent County.
Who is that
Samantha
now?
Riley is
Samantha
our
Riley,
new,
very good.
yep,
Okay,
yep,
right.
sweet little pretty blonde. You'll see her around. Yeah, and then there is I don't know, we just refer to him as the hog guy.
Feral hog guy.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Kevin Kreider.
Kevin
right.
Kreider,
Yeah,
yep.
I know you were
Yep.
getting ready to
and
say that, and I
he-
just thought I'd help you.
Yep. And so he's in and out. And then me, and I do the nutrition program in Dent County. So
Okay, so you still work with the schools?
I do. I still work with the schools, and then actually I sort of transition into a food systems, regional food systems manager for the summer. So I'm actually getting started in that right now.
Okay.
And but that is for Dent County, but it's also for Texas. I think it's Howell. Is it Howell right below Texas County?
Howell's kind of right below Shannon County, right there, right on the corner, yeah. Kind of off the corner of Texas
And
County,
then all of the southeast region. So
it's a pretty big area.
yeah, it is. It is just the education aspect of food systems. Farmers to the plate kind of thing, and making
Farmers
sure
to
that
table, right?
Yeah,
farm to table.
yeah.
No, and there's a lot of stuff going on today, and they constantly are changing stuff with food. The chemical makeup of food, how it's grown, where it's grown, and different climate conditions that have affected the food. I mean, you have to be up to date on every single thing in your job, don't you?
Yeah, kind of. So
Kind of.
yeah. And there's so many different within extension you
right.
can find a specialist for everything, I feel like. Or they can get you hooked up with whoever it is with the Department of Ag or USDA, or you know what I mean, but we always have somebody who knows, or they know somebody who knows.
Sure.
So calling the office is always a good idea if you are, have questions about, I swear almost anything. So, but I know so for my food systems role, probably a lot of the things I will do over the summer is maybe go to special festivals or events or farmers markets maybe on occasion. In fact, here in Dent County, we're probably going to do 1 or 2 food demonstrations at the farmers market where we'll try to go set up, probably talk to some of the farmers ahead of time, see, okay, what are the bumper crops right now,
Right.
and come up with some recipes that we can fix at the market with those foods.
Sure.
And then, people come in and, hopefully they sample some of the stuff and that's delicious, and they take a recipe and they gather up the ingredients for that recipe while they're there. So it kind of helps the farmers maybe to sell a little more.
Absolutely. And we all know here, when you're talking about your wide area, there's a lot of different crops in southeast Missouri
there
than
are.
there is over here.
And that's the thing. So I done this role last year as well. I done some different things. So the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, I assisted in Franklin County with signing seniors up for that $50 voucher to go to the farmers market and spend that at the farmers market. Whether it's there in Franklin County, they have to live in Franklin County to to get it.
To qualify for
Yes,
it. Right.
they have to live in the county that has the program, but they can spend it in any county in the state. And then we have that here in Dent County as
Yes,
well.
we do.
But Aging Best does that. So the senior center where they have the at the nutrition site that they'll have somebody actually that comes from another town somewhere in the southeast actually that comes up here to do that. And so they should be having flyers out or something on that when she'll be showing up to do those signups. But
Sure. You can contact the Salem Senior Center at Aging Best, and they can give you a better idea when that person will be here.
Yes, yeah, and it's a good program. But yeah, so I had assisted in a lot of that sort of stuff last year. I did do a food demo or two in the Columbia area, but I really didn't get to, other than introducing myself in my region and really getting to know everybody down there, I didn't get into that. But this year, that's kind of going to be my focus, trying to get to know them better, the area better, figure out, what does it look like? Where do I need to come in and assist or whatever? And I do think that there will probably be some food demonstrations, maybe even, I think this Friday they have a food distribution or something that's a protein distribution. And it's possible that I may go down and assist with that, stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of getting those connections and the programs that kind of help your smaller farmers to it helps meet their needs, but it helps to meet the needs of the people, getting local grown food into their stomachs. And I think that's important.
Could be a very busy summer for you.
It could be. Yeah.
It sounds like you have a lot of plans, and of course we all know that these fairs come up all the time, and the people are going to want your presence there to help demonstrate.
Well, and I won't be able to go to everything, right? But I do know that in Dent County, I am talking with Sarah, and in Dent County, going to try to plan a day or two this summer to do that at the farmers market here. Right. And so that's important for us to discuss, I guess, for our purpose here.
It is, but also we want people to understand that you're not always just here.
Right.
Because, the extension, obviously, years ago used to have specialists virtually in every county.
Yeah.
They had an agricultural specialist in every single county virtually. But then now, we got a horticulturist over in Cape Girardeau, and we've got food specialist in Dent County. We've got a feral hog guy that he's in Dent County, but he covers 5 different counties.
Yeah.
Similar to what you've got, about 9 or 10 counties you're covering.
I think I have 11, 9 to 11, somewhere between there. I know I don't even count them. I mean, it is what it is. Like you have this area, and the good thing is though is we have nutrition people in about all of those counties covering the nutrition education. I'll be coming in more to assist, or if there's some things that they maybe can't get to, or that sort of thing. And then also covering my own area. So, I have a garden group that I'm doing. In fact, we'll meet later today at the community garden. Plug for the community garden. There are plots at the community garden.
Yes, there is, which is run by the extension, by the way.
There's you can come and till up your spot, and and getting a hold of Tom Haynes or
Charlie Grimm
to
they
see about getting a spot. And it's possible, if you don't have their contact information, it's possible you could call the extension office 729-3196.
You probably don't call that either.
Not much. And ask them, because they can get you the information for those guys to get you a spot if you need a plot to grow some things.
And it's free. The first plot's free.
Is the first plot free?
Yeah.
Good deal. And
now
then
you want another one? There's a slight
like
charge.
$10 maybe?
Something like that,
I mean, yeah.
But one plot is a lot of work.
It can be,
it really
for sure.
can. Well, if you've never done it before, let's put it that way.
Keeping up with weeds is hard.
Right. But
there's things you can do. You can do
a
a little extra work at the beginning and maybe do some mulching to help keep those at bay a little bit better and things like that. We try to do that when we garden out there. But so I do have that class for the summer. I do think I'll probably be going and doing some kids in the kitchen for summer school still. Okay. I think I'm going to try, if I've got to kind of get that lined out, if I'm going to have time to be able to do that. But I'm hoping, because I don't want to let the kids down on that, right? And so so plenty of things going on.
One of the things that it was funny, because Tom and Charlie were here last week on Tuesday, and we talked about some of these, and they have some co-inhabited plants that assist each other. The plants help each other in
Yeah.
the same garden. So the master, and Charlie is a master gardener, by the way.
Yes.
So these people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so that's why the neat thing
Oh.
about the community garden is
They would love to educate you on
that's
things.
it.
Yes.
Education.
Ask questions.
they-
They would love to share that information and help you out. Yeah.
Right, and part of being a master gardener, which is a program you can get through the extension,
Yes.
by the way, that's usually taught in Rolla.
And now they have master horticulturist. No. Master
I don't know. There's another
native.
Yeah,
Is it native
I
plant?
don't remember. Anyway,
Oh.
extension.
Naturalist, master naturalist.
There you go.
Which sounds completely interesting to me as well. I would like to do both of those. I just,
Your
with
spare
all the
time?
time I have, yeah.
Yeah, your spare time. Get that done. But anyway, that's what's so cool about our program. Master gardeners actually are right there to answer any questions you might have. And remember, your water's free. The plot is free. The tools are out there waiting
Yep,
for you. All you
yep.
got to do is come out. If you bring your seeds, you're in good shape. You
Yep.
can do your thing. But again, you do need to register at the extension so they know that you want a plot and they mark it down. And then they'll tell Tom and Charlie.
Is that how that
Yeah,
goes?
yeah.
Okay, sorry. I
Well,
thought
no.
Tom and Charlie
well, you
actually
can do
did
Tom
the plots.
and Charlie, they do,
Okay.
but I mean, some people can't get a hold of them.
Right. And
So-
if you call the extension office, they can
Yes.
at least get you in touch with them because they know, I think they know what plots they have available. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was all built through the extension back years ago.
Way
yeah,
back
a
there.
long time ago. But, well, we do appreciate though all the great work of our master gardeners and stuff.
for
And this
sure.
is what it's all about, though. That's what extension does. They educate you. They help you. They're there to answer the questions. Whether you need a soil test on your own garden at home, you can get that done
Yep.
at the extension. You
Yep.
know, and if you're a farmer, you need to get your hay tested. You can get that done at the
Right.
extension.
And even they have their farms tested to make
That's
sure,
right.
do I need to lime? What do
Right.
I need to add? When having it fertilized, make sure you're adding the right mix in.
Exactly, and that's what those soil tests are so good for. So don't think you can't use them and the cost of any test like that is minimal. Minimal. It really is compared to what it would cost if you took it to a laboratory. It is. That can be very expensive. And the wait can be forever. And
Yeah.
extension really does work well with the communities that they serve. And that's the key thing I always liked about the extension. They really do
Right.
a great job. Well, here we are. It's getting near the end of, I'd say, almost to the time that there's no more frost.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are
Yeah.
going to start putting out flowers and stuff. And I know we were talking about the community garden. You can put flowers in the community garden if you want to, but if you are going to start doing some planting, remember the last frost day I think is May 2nd. So
Is
kinda
it May 2nd?
Keep that in
I know
mind.
a lot of people get in such a hurry for tomatoes,
Oh, I
and they want to plant them early, and it's always kind of a tricky business because you'll have people that plant them early and they'll have earlier tomatoes, but so often you can get that later frost, and then there you are. If
Yeah.
you don't cover them or whatever, you can lose those plants. And just the fact that the nights are still getting cooler, tomatoes and pepper plants also I wouldn't plant too early, but tomatoes don't really grow.
No.
They just won't do anything, and they're more tropical, so they really don't like the colder nights and stuff like
They
that.
just stagnate.
Soil
there,
needs to be
kinda, yeah.
warmer and that sort of thing. But yeah,
It's getting close.
yeah. So
Getting close. Here we are, April 3rd. So, I mean, we're right there knocking on the door. And, with the warmer temperatures we have, I know everybody says global warming, and it's just temperature adjustments. We've gone through them forever.
yeah,
Yeah.
What's funny, Stan, is when you talk to some old timers, they can tell you, but when I was a kid, the winter, like the
Yeah.
winter, this last winter, is
Sure.
worse than what we've had for several years, couple decades maybe.
It was
However,
nothing.
it's not necessarily as bad as when, my dad's like, when I was a kid, it was snowy most of the winter here. Like just things like that. Sometimes, we just, things just come, I don't know, it's like there's a rotation on.
Well, there is. And now we're more ice storms than we are snow.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we have more freezing rain and things of that nature. Now, further north you still got plenty of snow, but there is a little warmer layer to it. That doesn't mean we won't get snow. And if we do get snow, usually we get a good one.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If the
And I feel like
fronts come
droughts,
down.
when I was a kid, it seems like the droughts were worse, drier and longer. I feel like, remembering my dad, being so concerned about the ponds getting too low and having enough
Every year.
hay for the cows in the winter and that sort of thing. And it felt like it was very long periods.
Right.
And
August and September were the worst, at the time, and especially for growing, they were just the worst.
Yeah.
And that may not be the case all the time anymore.
Right.
Now, this past September, we had 1 day of rain. 1 day of rain last year in September. One. So, but then in October we made up for it. And in November we really made up for it with
Right.
all that flash flooding. So,
Right.
you just have to. Yeah, you never know what's going to be year to year.
It's one thing we can't control.
No,
So
you're right. It is something we cannot control at all. Anything in the near future you're going to be doing that maybe, our listeners might be interested in, that they can get involved in, or, I know your schedules. You're in a lot of meetings. You're doing a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But is it? You're talking about some demonstrations at farmers markets, or anything coming up, a cooking class or canning class or anything of that nature that you're aware of?
As far as I'm aware, there's not anything other than, like I said, doing the demonstration. We haven't set a date on that yet, and right now for Dent County. I'm the nutrition program associate, but I don't do canning classes.
Right.
And the specialist that does, we haven't had that person for a couple years now.
Well, they talked about, I think Tom and them mentioned having somebody come down and doing a
Possibly
canning
they
class.
were able to talk Rachel into doing one. I thought
Okay.
that they told me the same thing.
Yeah.
She might come back here to do a canning class at some point. That's kind of a one-day thing, so we may get that.
So we talk how
this
important
summer,
it is
which
to do
would
it
be
properly.
great.
You got to do canning properly. You can get very sick if you improperly can something. You get
And
botulism.
Rachel's done those classes for us in the past. She does really well with those. In fact, as a matter of fact, so myself and a couple other regional food systems managers, we all come from the same region, but we're covering different parts of
Sure.
the east side of the state. And so the three of us are getting together on Monday and teaching some of our nutrition program associates at my
there
other
you go.
job, teaching the rest of them some gardening stuff. And so Rachel's like, "Hey, while you're at it, so we're gonna grow some things that Rachel's gonna use to do some of
there you
these
go.
canning classes and some cooking classes that she's doing in her region." So
And that's the neat thing about Extension. You guys all work together
yeah.
to try and complement what everybody else is doing. So
Yeah.
and
Collaboration, I
Yep,
think, is what we.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why if you have any questions about what nutrition, about canning classes, and you can always go on the website. You can always check out the Dent County Extension website. You can go to Extension, do click in Dent County, but you can attend a class anywhere. You don't have to go
a
to
lot
Dent
of our
County.
stuff is free. Some things
Yeah.
there is a minimal
small cost,
cost,
sure.
some fee, but a lot of stuff is free. A lot of all of my education's free. When you get into what some of the specialists do, there's sometimes a little bit of a fee.
Right.
Like a canning class might cost a little bit, so it covers some of maybe the jars or
Right.
whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, and then just call 729-3196, or again, go online. And if you're looking for something in particular, I know they've had herbicide classes. They've had different classes on growing, and Master Gardeners hold special classes on plants and on flowers, and sometimes just on special, like cantaloupes and watermelons, which are, obviously those vines spread all over the place,
Right.
which are not allowed, by the way, over at the community
community
garden. So you
garden,
can't
yeah.
have those. They get a little bit wild out that way.
Yeah.
They search for water. That's
May
what
encroach upon your neighbor's
kind of do.
garden.
Kind of do. Anyway, so but all these different things, if you're interested, are all available to Extension. As I mentioned, free or very low prices
Right.
if you need to get something done. So
And sometimes we just have special articles out there that can be read
Right.
up on. I know, like with our hog guy, Kevin, they also have some education on like the black vultures. Apparently that's an issue in some areas. And I don't know, we had a farmer come in once last year and say, I am sure that I have had a black vulture issue here in Dent County.
Yeah.
And so when he shared with them, pictures and,
they
how
can-
this calf
right.
had died and whatever, they were like, oh yeah. And
Yeah.
and I think he ended up I don't know if he had pictures of the vulture, but anyway, just one of those things that another issue that, is possible they may get into assisting with that here if necessary.
Right. And get with Kevin. Kevin is a liaison with the Department of Conservation
Yes.
and Extension,
Yep.
which, again, we talk about cooperation, trying to work together to get the best result. And that's what this is all about.
Yep.
And so, yes, if you have a black vulture infestation, and a lot of times you'll know when they go, if you have a calf that gets attacked by a black vulture.
Yeah.
They rip them apart. It's not a pretty sight. So anyway,
Yep. You can
nonetheless,
call the office. They can
Yep.
help you get in touch with him. Our livestock specialist knows some about those things. If he happens to be in
Right.
the office and Kevin's not there, he can discuss
but the
some
Department of
things and kinda
Conservation has
get
to
you in
give you the
touch.
waiver to
Yep.
shoot them if you or do something with them. Yes,
Yeah.
and they can do that. I think it's up to 6. You get a permit to shoot 6.
Black vultures?
Yeah, in some
Really?
cases.
Okay.
So they'll investigate it and then to check it out, and they'll give you if they see that's an issue, they can give you a permit to do that. So, but again, you have to go through the proper channels. Don't take it upon
Yeah.
yourself to do it. Black vultures are still a protected species.
Oh, really?
That's why they have to get a permit.
See, I don't even know all
Yeah,
these things.
Anyway, but that's again, that's
That's all
why
right.
that's not your area of
Right.
expertise.
It's not
but
my
that's,
area,
but
but
it
I
is-
know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. There
Yeah.
you go. And that's always important. Stephanie, I know you have another appointment to get to, so I'm not going to keep you. I do appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. If anybody has any questions, they can get in touch with you through the extension.
Yes, and
729.
another thing before I do
Oh,
go,
yes, go. Yeah.
I also assist people in filling out the food stamp application.
Okay.
Some people are just overwhelmed with processes like that, and so that is another part of my job. We call it outreach. Extension calls it outreach.
Okay.
And so, yeah, if anybody has someone who needs help with that, it's pretty simple. You can go online and do it yourself.
Yeah.
I usually do a printed copy,
Right.
run it straight over, and turn it into the office same day. And we do try to get a turnaround time of 24 to 48 hours with patrons that need assistance with that. So if it was something where somebody needed that, I was out of the office, if I couldn't meet their need that day, I would be getting a hold of a close by NPA or one of my bosses to assist with that. But yeah, so that's another thing
Another
that
thing you
I
do.
assist with. Call the office if you need help with that. 573-729-3196.
Very good. Well, Stephanie, we always appreciate you coming in, spending some time with us, and keeping us up to date. We hope you have a fantastic summer. Sounds like it's going to be a busy one.
Yeah, I think it is, Dan.
But we hope you are safe in your travels, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Appreciate it.
In the meantime, thanks again for coming in and speaking with us on
Thank you.
KSMO.
Glad to be here with you.